Eric Hora, welcome to the Tokyo Living Podcast.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. Perhaps if you can just start by giving the listeners and viewers a bit of a background on yourself.
Yeah, sure. So I've been, well, where would I say? Let's see, I've been in Japan for about 10 years. I'm from America and came here right after I graduated from college. Now I'm married and my wife's actually German. Um, and we have a little baby boy. He's just turned 10 months.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
And what brought you out to Japan originally?
I've kind of always been interested around in my house. There are like little knickknacks, Japanese knickknacks from my grandma and mom and uncle and grandpa had come to Japan for a little bit. Sorry. Because my grandpa was teaching Japanese people how to be doctors after World War II.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so there was little knickknacks that got me interested, and then playing video games and all that. And then I took some history classes in college, and then was like, let's just go to Japan. And then I just came here.
Awesome. And what were you doing when you first arrived here? And what have you done professionally in the last 10 years?
Yeah, so I was mostly doing English teaching. I kind of did everything from like kindergarten all the way through people who have retired and want to learn English, things like that. And then, I've recently started doing the coaching business.
Yeah. So, tell us about that. It's the type of coaching that you do. It's quite unique. There's a lot of people doing sort of business coaching and, sort of lifestyle coaching and things like that. But you've got a unique, I guess, niche sort of industry that you're in. How did you get into that?
Well, I did coaching before I became a parent. And then after I became a parent, there's just so much to it. Like it can be really, really overwhelming. And I think I'm lucky in the sense of I've done this coaching for a while, and my wife and I have had a pretty smooth transition into parenthood. We're really good about protecting each other's time. We're really good about, making sure that we are prospering while we are raising our son. And that's something that, you hear a lot of people saying like, oh, I don't have time to make time for myself. I have to take care of my kids, or, kids always come first no matter what. And I put myself last. And I really want to help people make sure that they can be the parent that they want to be, and also make sure they are the person that they want to be at the same time.
So then how did you go about, I guess, getting the skills and experience to do what you're doing? Have you gone through some specific training for this? How did you get into it?
Yeah. So I guess even back when I was a kid, my dad has been doing coaching for years, and it's something that I thought was very interesting. I've always enjoyed working with people, listening to people through like Boy Scouts, things like that, through teaching. And I've always known I want to do something that's working with and helping other people. So kind of when Corona came around, it opened up a lot of possibilities. I had kind of put coaching off for a really long time because it would mean I'd have to go to the location of wherever I do the coaching program. And just for me, with having another job, it just wasn't viable. And coronavirus came around, and I kind of was able to just jump on a program that started doing everything online. It's based in the UK. It's called Animas, and they're an International Coaching Federation accredited course. And so I did their course. It was 6 months of classes, and then you had to have 40 hours of coaching under your belt before you could graduate from there.
And so, I mean, you say that you and your wife had a fairly smooth transition. have you just seen other people have a not so smooth transition? Is that sort of what prompted you to maybe share some of the experiences and some of the strategies and things that have worked for you and your wife with other people, or where did you sort of see the market for the service that you offer?
I mean, I've had some friends who definitely have had a really rough transition, the kind of thing where uh, before having a kid, they had a really strong relationship with their partner. And then after having a kid, they kind of feel like that relationship is starting to unravel, or they feel distance being put between themselves and their partner. And kind of the kid has been the wedge that is driving them apart. So I've seen that from people. And yeah, I really just, I think that's really sad because, it's having a good relationship with your partner, I firmly believe is the foundation of kind of making sure you will be the best parent possible.
Mm.
So I and also, having seen people being like, we have to sacrifice for our kid. We have to always put the kid first. And in a sense, your happiness is kind of relying on how your kid does. Um, that to me is kind of backwards
Mm.
in the sense of we need to be happy so that we can show our kids how to live happy lives.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where I'm coming from and what I've seen. And I just knew for me personally, like it's kind of like the oxygen mask in the airplane. I need to make sure that I'm getting my oxygen, my time to myself. I'm doing what I want to do and bettering myself as a person so that I can be the best parent possible.
So the people that you work with, are they generally coming to you before they have children, or is it generally once they get started with the parenthood journey that they actually contact you, or is it perhaps if they've had one child and they're thinking about a second or have had a second? When the majority of your clients, where do they sort of come in and fall in that picture?
Yeah, the majority of people do kind of come when they have some sort of problems that are manifesting in different ways. It could be that um, they feel like they're always on edge, or like kind of small things that they used to be able to just brush off. Now they're kind of finding really, really irritate them. Or, a lot of my clients do come when after they've had a kid and after kind of, these different problems or stresses start manifesting in different ways.
Mm-hmm. And I guess there's two sides of that. I mean, you mentioned people sort of putting the child first and the child sort of coming between the parents as one sort of potential cause of issues. What other sort of causes do you typically deal with, and how do you see these problems manifesting?
Mm. I mean, one of the biggest things I guess I see is that parents kind of focus on their own world. Like there's a lot going on and we kind of get more and more, sorry, there's a bug here. More and more focused on ourselves and our needs. And so we stop reaching out to the other partner, to the partner or, whoever it is. And that can make it so, we feel we have to protect what we have and we can't let go of it. And so um, it's really hard to then reach out and be like, hey, do you need to take 15 minutes right now to go do something else? Like, I got the kid. We start losing that more and more, especially if you feel like, oh man, like the only time I had to myself today was like the 2 minutes in the bathroom. I need to make sure that I have my time instead of I need to make sure that my partner gets their time because then they will also in return protect my time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What else do you typically see? What are some other issues that typically pop up?
Yes. So as I mentioned, there's kind of the frustration that can pop up. Um, lack of sleep, like the insomnia in the sense of, parents can be really, really tired and they go to lay in bed to fall asleep. They're exhausted, but then they have this idea of like, oh my God, I have to do this. Oh my God, I have to do this. And then they're laying in bed and they're just awake. Even though they are exhausted.
And then you finally get to sleep, and someone decides that it's time to wake up. Do you see sort of typical presentations in terms of how the children themselves respond to these issues going on with the parents?
I haven't seen so much how the children of my clients are responding. I've seen my own kid. He's only 10 months, but you can kind of tell like when you're stressed, like I feel like they cry more often, or especially I feel it is if I'm stressed and I'm trying to like rock him down for a nap or something like that, he takes so much longer to rock down.
Yeah.
And, then I start getting more frustrated because he isn't going to sleep. And then he like kind of starts moving around more. And, even if you have a small kid, you can see it within them. They know when you're stressed out.
And so then what are some of the interventions that you're applying in these sort of scenarios? How are you sort of coaching people through this?
So a few things that we're doing is what I call like turning down the temperature. If you are in a point where you're getting really upset with the people around you, your partner, if you're getting really upset at work, finding the right way to really kind of start turning that temperature down. Some easy way through some different breathing techniques that can be applied immediately, so that you kind of just focus on the breathing and then you kind of forget about the stress that's going on right now. Another way is through realizing your own triggers. So, like, oh, I know this situation, this makes me angry immediately. So that you can be aware that when this comes up, you need to go through this process so that you can keep your cool in like those high tension situations. So to start taking the edge off of things.
Yeah. And what are some of the common triggers that you see people complain of?
I've seen, if it's gotten kind of really bad, it could be anything from, if your partner's just sitting on the couch on their phone while you're holding a crying baby, and, you're looking at them like, what are you doing? Like, why are you just sitting there on the couch on your phone when I'm the one, bouncing up and down? Why is it like this?
Yeah.
It can get to something like that. It can be, household tasks, dishes aren't done, trash isn't taken out. It can be anything as simple as that.
And the clients that you see, I mean, are they, is it based mainly in Japan, or are you sort of working with people from other parts of the world as well?
Yeah, I've been working with people kind of all over the world. I do all my coaching online right now. So it means that, I have clients in Japan. I've had clients in the States. I've had people from the UK. So kind of different parts of the world.
Yeah. And obviously, parenting is parenting wherever you are. But are there, certain things that people deal with in different countries, and in particular, are there things that you've seen people deal with in Japan that are a bit different?
I guess the one thing in Japan that I have seen that's maybe a little bit different is there's still really the strong social idea that the man goes out to work and the women take care of the children. That's still like really, really ingrained in society. So, if you have a Japanese partner, they may kind of accidentally fall into the societal rules that have been set forth. And so some people say like, we had a kid and then I feel like my partner just changed like immediately. And like, I've seen a lot of that being like, they kind of fall into that role then that society kind of has depicted of, okay, now that I have a kid, like if I'm a guy, like I gotta work and focus on that, and relationship, all that other stuff. Taking care of my kid even sometimes comes second to all of my work and everything.
I guess as a parent now, is there anything that you would have done sort of differently yourself through any stage in the parenting process?
Um,
I guess maybe seeing things in other clients, and it's like, yeah, I can sort of relate to that, and maybe I could have done this a little more, a little differently, or something like that.
yeah, I think one of the things I wish that we had started doing a bit earlier is actually like scheduling free time a
Mm.
bit earlier. As a parent, like things come up, things get crazy, and you lose track of time really, really easily. Um, and so one of the things that my wife and I have been doing is we just like I have in my calendar alone time for Laura. And so during that time, like that means that I need to take care of our son. And I wish we'd start scheduling that in more often. We do things daily. I'll usually take him for at least one of his naps and or go for a walk, get out of the house. Um, but then we started scheduling in like a 3-4 hour chunk, especially for my wife, to just go and do things that she wants to do. And I think that has really helped things.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, just deciding like this is the time, no matter what happens, I've got I've got our son, I've got Robin. He's under my care. You go do your thing and don't even think about us if you can.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Um, my next question was going to be if you had sort of three basic tips that you would offer to any sort of new parent. Obviously, there's specific things that are specific to the individual, and I think that you've given one good one there. But there are a couple of others that you see most people, or most parents, will benefit from.
Yeah. So, as I just mentioned, the scheduling thing. Another thing is um, don't over talk about things.
Mm.
Actually, like Laura and I had a time where we were trying to plan out how the day would go or something like that, and exactly who would do what. Um, but I think we kind of went too focused on things. So, you need to find that right balance of have a general plan for how a week might go, and then being able to kind of change on the fly, and then also, taking initiative yourself. Like, okay, like we talked about, we're going to do this activity, and I know we need to do this, this, and this. So I'm not going to go ask my wife, like, you know, oh, let's talk about each individual item on our to-do list. Like, I know I can do this, this, and this, so I'll just do it.
Sure.
And then, if we need to talk about something, then we go and we talk about it. But that, like, don't over focus, don't
Yep.
over plan is one thing that I would definitely say.
Mm, mm.
So that way you remain flexible.
Yeah, no, that makes sense for sure. Any others? Any other big ones, big rocks that you think people can benefit from?
Yeah. Just making sure you're having touch points with each other. So really, really simple thing of just like every morning checking in with your significant other, your spouse, whatever. Hey, how are you doing? How did you sleep last night? What can I do for you today? What do you need from me today? Just really, really simple, open-ended questions that you can ask in the morning or sometime throughout the day to make sure that you know where your partner is at and you know where you're at in terms of stress, in terms of tiredness and things like that.
Sure, sure. I feel like conversations about the previous night's sleep are just well, by the time you have three kids, like I have, you end up having a lot of those conversations. And there's a famous British comedian whose name escapes me at the moment, Michael someone, but he talks a lot about parenting, and when he talks about you get to a stage where before you go to sleep, instead of saying good night, you say good luck. And so when my wife and I are going through stages where the kids aren't sleeping well, which is right now we're going through one of those. We always give each other a kiss good luck before we turn the lights out.
Yeah.
Eric, there's some great information there. If people are interested in either getting in touch with you or do you sort of put out any information on sort of social media or anything like that? Are you sort of active in that space?
Yeah. I was a little bit more active before. I'm still on like Facebook and things like that occasionally. So you can always look me up on Facebook. If you just search my name, Eric Hora, you can find me there. Or like on my website, it's hora-coaching.com.
Terrific. And you're currently accepting clients now. You're available for appointments, and it's all done online.
Yeah. And so the first time you can schedule what's called a discovery call. It's about a 45-minute call or so. And it's us to get to talk to each other, to know if we are a good match and decide if, we'd like to work together. So that's free, and anyone can sign up for that.
Perfect. Great. Well, we'll put your details and website details in the show notes. And for anyone who thinks that they may benefit from these services, please get in touch with Eric. Eric, thanks very much. That was really interesting to find out what you're doing. And I think it's a great thing. I think it's definitely needed by a lot of parents. We don't really have training in this, and it's probably the most important job that any of us will do throughout our lives. So it's definitely useful to have someone there helping us out. So thank you very much for coming on, and we'll maybe speak again on the specific topics in the future.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
All right, cheers, Eric. Bye.
Yeah, thanks.